this goes back a couple years. Little pre-information. My apartment is huge. Every room is big. It's like one of the old houses on Madison Avenue, except for the bathroom, which is a tiny little room that was like mocked in. I can literally sit on the bathtub and stick my head in the sink, which is important here in a minute. Um, so I had a checkup at a doctor. At the doctor, I was fighting some high blood pressure issues, and finally got it under control with some medicine. When had my checkup, my blood pressure's great. I'm feeling good about myself. I lost a couple pounds, and I get home from my doctor's appointment. So before I make dinner, I use the bathroom and I'm washing my hands. And while I'm washing my hands, I'm like, well, why is my leg getting wet? And then it's like, so I start looking, the sink's not spraying. So I'm turning around and I'm looking around the bathroom, and all of a sudden I realize that there's blood squirting out of my leg. Um, I don't know if anybody's ever had a varicose vein that got too close to the surface, but it basically looked like if you took a garden hose and poked a pinhole in it, and it was like a high pressure, like 10-foot spray of blood coming out of my leg. And as I'm turning in circles trying to figure out where the wetness is coming from my leg, I'm spraying blood around my bathroom in something that would like that looked like a scene out of Dexter. Um, so I immediately, like, my sister was my roommate at the time, and so I yell for her to call my mom, because my mom is a nurse practitioner and my dad has varicose vein issues, so she would know what to do. And while I put some pressure on it and try and get the bleeding to stop. So she calls my mom, and my mom is on her way. She has all the first aid supplies because, I'm a guy and I have nothing practical in my apartment that I would be able to use to actually like take care of a wound or anything. Um, and My sister gets off the phone with my mom, and about this time, I look down at my arm, and I don't know if you can see it. My lighting's bad, but I'm pretty heavily covered in tattoos. But I went pale as a sheet underneath my tattoos. Just all the color like drained out of me, and my because I hadn't had a chance to make dinner yet. I guess my blood sugar dropped, and I got real lightheaded, from blood loss. And I was like, "Oh, well, this is bad." So I sat down quick, and my sister starts to panic, and she's like, "I have to call an ambulance. I have to call an ambulance." I was like, "Well, what are you talking about?" And my mom had told her that as long as I'm okay to let things go, but if I took a turn for the worse, she was to call an ambulance. And the first thing that popped in my head is I'm not paying $1,500 for a 2-minute ride to the hospital. So this turned into an argument between me and my sister as I'm squirting blood across the bathroom that she needs to call an ambulance. And I kept telling her all I needed was some sugar. So I made her go to the fridge and get me a bottle of cran grape from Ocean Spray. Drank that down, and you could see the color come back to underneath the tattoos. I started to feel better. We got the blood stopped, and then my mom finally showed up and like patched it up and gauze and wrapped it up. And I went to the doctor the next day. But the good thing was, though, I was able to play up the sympathy angle of like blood loss and whatnot, and made my sister clean everything up. So luckily, like, I mean, it was pretty bad. And there is a picture which I had sent to JJ, which I'll give her permission to post on like social media or whatever after all this is done. But the if you see the picture, it's not even the worst of it. And this does kind of go back in time with some of the other ones, as I was wearing flip flops, and like there's just blood pooled in my flip flop as I'm sitting there like squirting blood all over the place. But yeah, so thankfully, like, nothing serious happened, and you got it taken care of, and it turned into a cool murder scene in the bathroom, but not one of the cool murder scenes like the shower curtains that you can buy that look like they have blood sprayed on them.